Follow the steps 1 to 3 for making up the bowsprit spars. Wrap a piece of sandpaper around the dowel and sand the cutout in the boomkin supports to match the size and angle of the boomkins, which are positioned as in the following step. Cut the 4mm ends of the boomkins at an angle so that they sit flat against the sides of the knights' heads, then trim the boomkins back to 95mm long. Paint both the yards and the boomkins to match and finish all the other yards. Take the 6x6mm strip and use the smaller bracket which fits behind the cat head to mark the forward angle on one end. Cut this line with a razor saw. 32mm off the strip, drill two 1mm holes in the top, 2mm from the end. Hold the bracket and cat head in place against the hull and mark lines where the bulwark cap needs to be cut away. Carefully cut a slot in the bulwark cap using a razor saw and a knife. The slot must stop at the hull planking, as shown. Hold the larger bracket centrally under the slot you have just cut. Chamfer the end of the bracket so that it will sit flat against the hull, then mark where it touches the moulding. Glue the larger bracket centrally to the underside of the cat head. After painting the part yellow ochre, hold the cat head in position and mark a pencil line on the hull at the top of the small notch at the bottom of the bracket. Take one of the laser cut eking rails, they are identical, and bend it to match the inward curve to the bow. Fit the upper curved end in the cutout in the moulding and trim the straight end to fit against the middle beak head rail. Cut the upper curved end of the eking rail in line with the pencil mark you made earlier. Cut the eking ochre yellow and then glue the cat head in position. Hold the smaller bracket behind it to make sure it is at the right angle. Finish off the quarterdeck by adding cannonballs to the shot garlands, installing the staghorns and adding belaying pins to the racks. The paint stripe shown only apply to the painted version. For the natural finish version, you may prefer to pick out some or all of the bulkhead rails with gold paint. A pair of short ropes called pendants hang down in front of each mast. They have eyes at the end to provide attachment points for heavy lifting and need to be tied in place before adding the shrouds. Start with the foremast, take about 200mm of the 0.8mm black thread and pass it up alongside the front of the lower mast. Continue with steps 2 up to 8. Repeat steps 1 to 8 on the other two masts as per your instructions, making the pendants on the main mast 61mm long and those on the mizzen 50mm long. Tie the shrouds to the masts above the tops. They will not be secured to the chain rails yet, as there is still more work to be done before the masts are permanently fixed in place. Carefully following steps 1 to 7 on page 524 of your instructions. Cut both ends off about 25mm below the chainrail. Repeat steps 1 to 3 in your instructions to tie the first two shrouds on the left hand side of the mast. Fitting dead eyes to the shrouds. Make a jig from 0.5mm brass wire to help you get the shrouds to the right length and all the dead eyes in the right place. Cut two pieces 35mm long, Make 2 bends 20mm apart to form a goalpost shape with legs about 7 or 8mm. Make a slight bend in one leg to stop the upper deadeye slipping off. Use a strip of masking tape to hold the 2 pieces of wire together. Fit a 5mm deadeye on the top legs with the extra bend and insert the other legs into the first deadeye on the chain wales. Loop the first shroud around the deadeye, putting a gentle tension on the thread. Carefully remove the wires from the deadeye without letting go of the thread or moving the deadeye, and bind the deadeye as shown in steps 4 and 6 of your instructions. Repeat this for all the shrouds. Repeat all the steps on the previous 3 pages in your instructions to prepare the 11 shrouds fitting to the main mast. Now repeat all the same steps for the mizzen mast. This only has 6 shrouds each side, so you only need 3 pairs of threads each side.